Okay, we're back again with Jackie Allenbrand, Pharm Dog. We got Lady in Ag we're going to do.
Yes.
She could be our Lady in Ag, too.
She could, but
We'll
not
do
this
that.
week.
Not this week, but we'll do it in another week because she's in the cattle business and the farm dog business and putting up with us business today. But
Well, I have a whole group of ladies that we are going to highlight this week again.
okay. We like the group deals like that. That
Yes.
works good.
Well, after planting, and even before planting, sometimes you got to do some work with the farm service agency when you row crop or have cattle.
Yep.
And there is so much paperwork, and it's got so much deadlines, and there's about 15 different forms that you got to sign for each farm I think you're on.
And you're real good with paperwork, aren't you?
All farmers are meticulous with their paperwork,
They don't even know what it is.
They just sign it. They don't know what it is.
That's something that they get in the truck after they've been in the cattle lot. And yeah, anyway.
Just print it off and I'll sign it. But what we're going to do is we are going to highlight the ladies up at the Gentry and Worth County FSA offices.
Yes, good deal.
Because I talked to Eric, the county executive director, about the ladies in his office. He said that most farmers really appreciate the work that they do. In both offices, Gentry and Worth, we have an excellent set of gals, some of the best in the state, in his opinion. Eric said,
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Eric said
cool.
they strive to help all farmers, ranchers, and landowners at the Farm Service Agency. There's Barb Ratcliffe. She is the Farm Storage Facility Loan and Marketing Assistant Loans is her main deal.
Way to go, Barb.
Brandy Rush is the Conservation Reserve Program, or more commonly known as CRP. She deals with all that. And
It's a big job.
Yeah.
Brandy's her name?
Yes.
That sounds like Randy.
Yeah, but sweeter.
She'd be highly efficient.
Yes. But, even when you put food plots in your CRP, you've got to verify that you did your food plots. And
correct.
If your CRP has maintenance and stuff, you've got to follow all these guidelines. And the girls are awesome if you email them and they say, yes, this is what you do for so-and-so's contract, and here's when you're supposed to do it. So you dot those I's, cross those T's, and everybody's happy.
Always pleasant.
There's Brenda Walker. She works in the ARC and GIS mapping and crop reporting.
Cool.
Which, for crop reporting, we've got to have that so we can get our 578 forms for our crop insurance. So all that stuff works together. So these ladies do a lot of important stuff for them.
Vitally important.
Yep, and they, somebody went and they drew around all of our little fields on the edges and stuff to know how many acres are there. And, then you push out a tree and say, well, there's more acres there. Well, they've got to change all that.
They fix it.
Yep. And then there's Cassie Wiederholt. She does payment eligibility and administration stuff. So I just want to give a big shout out to the girls up there.
Yes, we do. We love them. They do a good job.
Well, it's one of those things behind the scenes that not everybody sees, and we really appreciate all they do.
We applaud that because there is so much that goes on in agriculture. Not many people's doing it. You would think so, but 2%
of our population.
Our American population is agriculture. So that's a lot on a big weight on a few shoulders. Just like, did you know any of these ladies, Jackie?
Yes, I know all those ladies.
Do you?
Yes, they're actually we're related to Barb Ratliff. My husband
really?
is. So, yes. Yeah, and
Good.
I used to work with Eric Redden when he was in 5th grade. I was his substitute teacher, so.
Really?
Yeah, I could tell
So
some
we could do a
stories,
story on a segment on stories about kids when they were in elementary school.
Yes.
We'll have to do that
we
someday.
sure could.
We'll do that someday. Bradley, now before we left, you had something you was going to ask
Yes.
Jackie.
Okay, she was saying that she could train these dogs to go get a tool or something, and I got to thinking, growing up on the farm, I was always, Dad'd be working on something, and the tools were always in the other shed, and he'd be like, go get me a 9/16 wrench, and he'd send me off, and I'd come back with a 5/8, and he'd be like, that's the wrong wrench. Go get the 9/16
and throw it.
So if we could train a dog to do that, how do you train a dog to go get a tool for you, and I think that's really neat.
Well, thank you.
A dog can do it, but Bradley can't.
Well, I will tell you that they will not be able to tell the difference in size, but
so they can't tell the difference between the metric and the standard.
No, they are smart, but not that smart.
Okay.
But, just training a dog takes a lot of time and patience. Of course, you start out with smaller items and get them to start touching them with their mouth or touch with their nose. You start the touch training, and then you just work your way on up from there. And we could go into a really long session, but I know you're on limited time. But that's how
we're fine.
That's how we start out the training is just getting them to touch items with their nose or their mouth, and then start the retrieving it kind of as a game. You need to make it enjoyable for them, and always end your training on a good note, a positive note, so that they will think it's fun and they'll want to continue to do it. So. Some dogs are treat motivated, food motivated. It's kind of the way I am.
Yeah,
and
we all are.
Others are.
We all are.
Toy motivated, but it just depends on what their temperament is. Just takes a lot of time and patience, and that's really how you get the good start on the training.
Now, you were telling me something over the break about using a laser pointer.
Yes, we actually had a dog. He's in our pamphlet, our brochure, if anybody's ever picked one of those up, and he's on the website. His name was Odie, and he was trained by laser training. So if you had left your pliers and a bucket over by the barn and you had moved on to a new location and you needed those pliers, you could shine the laser on the pliers and tell him to go fetch it, and he would go fetch the item that the laser was on. So
really,
that saves the farmer from having to then go take those steps, and he can save that energy and time to do something else.
Really?
So that particular dog, he would also lay with the farmer when he had bad headaches. He had a traumatic brain injury, and he would lay at his feet when he was sick and stay with him all day long. So these dogs not only help physically, but emotionally as well.
Sure.
Farmers go through some depression sometimes when dealing with an illness or an injury. So the dogs make them get up and get out and go. You got to feed them. You got to walk them. You got to take care of them. So,
and they're as loyal as loyal can be. That just sparked up something. You were showing me a book.
Yes.
Called Loyal?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, called Loyal. We had an author from New York City.
New York City.
And she called me the end of last year and had seen us on the NBC footage, and we had an Associated Press article that went out all over the place too, and she saw us there and wanted to do a story. And so she did a story on Troy Balderston and his dog Duke out in Beaver City, Nebraska. And this book is published by National Geographic, and it came out March 7th. And
wow.
Troy and Duke and Pharm Dog is mentioned, and we have a 4-page article in there, and it's kind of a big deal for
it is a big deal.
Cool.
Us being from little Gentry County and New York City author columnist.
Isn't
that was
that
kind
awesome?
of a big deal for us, and we were really humbled by that to be a part of it. So
you put us on the map. In New York City.
I don't know about that, but we are keeping in touch with her, and maybe some good things will come from that. We hope.
Sure, I bet it does.
So,
God will bless this. You're doing an awesome thing. I mean, it'll continue. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
See, we don't let Bradley go to New York City, as you can see why. They wouldn't get those bib overalls right off the bat.
No.
Yeah, they would.
I think after all the stuff I'd have to take out of my pockets just to get on an
Airplane, that's right.
You'd never make it, would you?
I have enough parts in my pocket sometimes to put together a small engine. That,
yeah, he does.
Oh.
What, there's the lady, was it Maysville?
Yes.
She's got a farm dog also?
She has a farm dog, yes.
Well, we're going to talk about her later, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she She has one of our border collies. She's legally blind, and her dog, Sweet Baby Joe, helps her.
Sweet Baby Joe.
Yeah, Sweet Baby Joe.
Wow.
And she helps her feel like she's more active part of their cow-calf operation, and helps her on her bad days also as well. And Sweet Baby Joe's kind of our official greeter at farm shows. Sometimes she comes along, and dogs are like magnets, so everybody comes.
Oh, yeah.
You got to have candy pins or a dog, and they'll come see you.
Dog works best.
Yes.
You get a lot of,
A lot of people.
How come we didn't have the dog down here in the studio? I could have went for that, you know.
I didn't know if you'd appreciate that or not. So
It's it's one of those times it's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission.
okay.
Bradley does it all the time.
I had to do it. I had to do it.
I don't know. We probably snuck the dog by miles, maybe.
Yep. Go around the other here on the studio away from all the cubicles and we would have been fine.
Yeah, we could have made it work.
He likes to be social. I'm sure he would have loved being here. So
He could have rode in Randy's pickup and got hair everywhere.
Well, that's all right. That's all right. Remember, I've got one coming.
You got one coming.
I've got one coming so far. Pharm, tell me, PHARM. What does that stand for again?
Pets Helping Agriculture in Rural Missouri. And we added USA to our name in 2012 when we became a nonprofit. So that people would realize that we're not only going to try to work in Missouri, but other states as well. And we've had some outside calls
You
from other
starting to get
states.
some?
Yeah, got a call from Indiana last week, so we may work with a farmer out there.
Really?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Well, we want to talk more with Jackie. We're going to do Focus on the Farmer on this lady with the farm dog here in just a minute when we come back to more of Bull Sessions on 680 KFEQ.